The digestive system. The digestive system, grade 9. So, the digestive system is the system that prepares the food to use by your body cells. This is how your food gets digested. Okay, so why do we need the food to get digested? Because your cells cannot eat what you're eating. Your cells, they are on a special diet. So if you're eating lipids or fat, your cells need fatty acids. If you're eating proteins, which like meat, eggs, and milk, your cells need amino acids. If you're eating carbs like bread, rice, or pasta, your cells need simple sugars. This is why you need a digestive system, to break down these things that you're eating to make them okay with your cell's specific diet. So, this digestive system produces various chemicals to break down the food. What do we call the chemicals breaking down the food? Mainly they are enzymes, except for the HCl, which is present in the stomach, which is an acid. They filter harmful substances. Of course, as you make food and as you make things available for the cells, you also make wastes. And of course, it gets rid of solid wastes. Okay, what do we mean by mechanical? Mechanical means that it involves action. So let's see this. Chewing, action. Tearing, which you do by your teeth, action. Grinding, action. Grinding and mashing and mixing, they mainly happen within your stomach, and some of it happens in your small intestine, but to a great lesser level. So mechanical means the things that happen during the digestion that are related to the movement. What happens during chemical digestion? These three things that we just mentioned, the carbohydrates present in bread, rice, and pasta, the proteins which are present in meat, eggs, and milk, lipids which are present in the oils and butter, all of this is going to be transformed into the actual things that your cells need. The digestive enzymes, which are, as I said, the chemicals, are special proteins that help break up larger molecules, as in carbohydrates, proteins, and lipids, into tiny molecules that can be absorbed and used by the cells in the form of nutrition. What are the phases of digestion? Ingestion, which means that the food is entering into your body. The movement, we're breaking down the food, and the food has to pass through the tube, through the stomach, through all of this. Digestion means breaking down the actual food by chemicals, making it more acceptable to the cells. Absorption, which is the delivery of your food into the cells, and finally the further digestion for every single thing that you eat. Okay, so we look here at the digestive system. Of course, it starts with the mouth, which is called the oral cavity. From the mouth, it has to go to this long muscular tube. We say that the digestive tract is a long muscular tube because if you look here, here is the esophagus. Okay, leads to the stomach, leads to all of these tubes, which are the small intestine, and then finally a larger tube, which is called the large intestine. This is why we say that the digestive tract is a long muscular tube. What are the parts of the digestive tract? We have mouth, pharynx. As we said in the respiratory system, the pharynx is a common passage for both the food and the air. The esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine. What are the organs that are present around the digestive system and they help out? Let's get back to the picture. Here we have the tongue and the teeth. Here we have the liver. It is not part of the tract. The tract is the pathway. But these organs, they are present within the digestive system, and they are responsible for producing enzymes and chemicals to help with digestion. The pancreas, this small part, this small organ, okay? The pancreas is very important to your digestion. So, apart from the tract, which is the pathway of the food, there are organs present around that are also helping within digestion. What happens in the mouth? The food is going to enter the mouth. You can taste the food. Mechanical breakdown of food. We said mechanical means it's related to action. And what happens? You have the salivary glands inside your mouth. The saliva is the fluid you have in your mouth at all times. It is secreted by glands, which some of them are present under your tongue, some are present under your chin. What do? They secrete saliva. What does saliva do? Okay, so we will start first of all by the mouth. So what happens here? The teeth. They are going to cut the food, tear the food, crush and grind the food. Make sure the food is in a small ball that can pass through the digestive system. What happens with the salivary glands? These salivary glands that secrete the saliva, it moistens the food, which means that it makes the food moist and watery so it can pass through the digestive system. And it contains a very important enzyme that starts the digestion of starch. Starch is present in bread, for example. So whenever you're eating a piece of bread, even if it's not sugary, you start feeling a sugary taste in your mouth because the salivary amylase, which is present in your saliva, is digesting the starch into a type of sugar. What does the mouth do? Of course, it mixes and rolls the food. Okay, we call the ball of food that is formed after you chew the food bolus, which is a soft ball. And then your mouth is responsible for pushing the bolus towards the pharynx and then into the esophagus while you're swallowing. Here are your teeth. Here is your throat, which is responsible for pushing the food further into your esophagus. Look here. This is what's going to happen. The food is going to pass from your mouth and then here into the esophagus. If you look, you're going to see that the esophagus is at the back and in the front we have the trachea. This is why we said, as we were talking about the respiratory system, that the back of the trachea doesn't contain rings to allow the food to pass easily through the esophagus. Okay, so swallowing, okay, it's the tongue helps, the soft palate, the pharynx, and even the esophagus. All of this, they contribute to pushing the food that you just chewed and mixed with saliva into your pharynx, and then it goes down into the esophagus. Look here, let's see the bolus of food. Okay, here is the tongue is going to push this bolus over there, and then over here, and then over there. It takes its time until it passes through the esophagus and then all the way down the esophagus to the stomach. The esophagus, it is the muscular tube which is responsible for connecting the mouth with the stomach. How much does your food take in your esophagus? 4 to 8 seconds. Okay, the muscles of the esophagus, they keep on pushing the food down by an action of smooth muscles called peristalsis. Peristalsis means that there is contraction and relaxation, pumping of the food down to your stomach. Look here, we have, this is a contraction, which means that the road becomes tight, and this is a relaxation, means becomes larger, and then a contraction, it becomes tight. This is how the food is pushed down the esophagus. The stomach. Within the stomach, which is a muscular sac or bag, the food is mixed with gastric juices. What are the juices? What are the fluid that are present in the stomach? You have the hydrochloric acid, HCl, and some of the enzymes. Okay, the HCl helps break down the food, and it kills most of the bacteria that come along with the food. Here's your stomach. It looks like a bag. It is muscular, and on the inside it contains hydrochloric acid and it contains many enzymes. The inside wall of the stomach is really strong, and it has many rugae which help with the grinding of the food, and at the same time it protects the wall of the stomach of the acid, because the acid present in your stomach is a really strong acid. What do we have in the stomach? Pepsin. Pepsin is responsible for breaking down of protein in the presence of hydrochloric acid, which is the acid present in your stomach. You have mucus. Mucus it helps making your food more moist and softer so it can pass to your intestine. And then, because of the strong actions of the stomach, it's going to convert the bolus of food, which was a soft ball, into a liquid that we call chyme. How much does your food stay in your stomach? It stays for 4 hours, mechanical and chemical digestion, until it is pushed down your small intestine. Here is it. The food is coming from the esophagus as a bolus. Here it is going to be transformed in the presence of HCl and enzymes as pepsin into a chyme, and chyme is soft, it's more liquid, okay, until it's pushed here into the beginning of the small intestine. The small intestine is a very long tube. It's 20 feet long, and it's present after the stomach immediately. It is divided into 3 parts: duodenum, which is the upper part, jejunum, which is the second, and then ileum, which is the last part of the small intestine. The first part, which is the duodenum, is where most of the continuous digestion happens, and then after that it is going to go into the absorption. The food is going to be absorbed. So in the duodenum, the digestive juices coming from the pancreas and the liver, they are going to combine, they are going to be together with the chyme, making it thin and watery. All of this is to prepare the food to be absorbed, to enter into your cells. Here is the small intestine. All of these tubes, it is coiled in order to take less space. The duodenum is the beginning, jejunum comes next, and then finally the ileum, which is connected into your large intestine. Okay, in the small intestine, the food is going to stay 4 to 8 hours. Okay, the inside of the small intestine contains several enzymes that help digesting the food. In the small intestine, the pancreas, remember we said the pancreas is one of the organs that are present around the beginning of the small intestine, and they secrete enzymes to help the digestion of the food. What happens through the intestinal wall? The food is going to be absorbed. Absorbed means that it's going to pass from the intestine into your cells. Okay, the inside of the walls, they contain what we call villi. Villi are finger-like projections. They are finger-like parts that help the absorption of the food. Inside the villi, there are microvilli, which are even smaller villi. As you go smaller, means that the walls are going to become thinner, which is going to help the absorption of all the food and its passage into your cells. So here is it. What happens in the small intestine? Mixing, because there is a lot of movement happening in the small intestine. Secretion, because a lot of enzymes coming from the pancreas or coming from the gallbladder, they help the digestion of the food. Digestion, mechanical because of the movement, and chemical because of the enzymes. And then finally we have the absorption, because this food is going to your circulation. Finally, the waste products are going to go into your large intestine. Large intestine is known for all of you as colon. Okay, it's large. This is why it's called the large intestine. What happens in the large intestine? Only the solid part of the waste is going to leave your body through the large intestine, but the water is going to be reabsorbed. What does reabsorb mean? Means that it's going to return to your body, because your body only gets rid of water through your urinary system. It does not get rid of water through the large intestine. Large intestine only gets rid of solid wastes. Here is the large intestine. Here is the ileum, which is the terminal part of the small intestine. It opens where? It opens within the large intestine. End of small intestine, beginning of large intestine. Okay, and here is your large intestine. This is where the wastes are going to be stored, and then some of the water is going to return to your body, and then only the wastes are going to leave your body through the rectum and finally the anus. The waste is pushed into the expanded portion of the large intestine. The solid waste stays in the rectum until it's excreted through the anus as feces. Feces are the stools that you get rid of because these are the solid wastes that were formed while you were eating. Let's look at the appendix. Here is the appendix. Okay, the appendix, this part, it has been proven no function in humans, although it's important in some animals, as for example the rabbit. It is responsible for digestion of cellulose, which is the green part of the plants that the rabbit eat. But for us as humans, it has proven no function till now. Sometimes some people, they have an inflammation of the appendix. It is called appendicitis. And this inflammation of the appendix, it requires some time to be removed. Removing the appendix causes no problem because, as a matter of fact, it hasn't any function in the human body. Okay, we're going to talk about the organs that help with the digestion. They are not part of the tract, but they are part of the digestive system. So, the liver, this is the largest gland in the body. First of all, it stores 4 vitamins, A, D, E, K. It stores sugar and glycogen. And it produces bile. Bile is responsible for the digestion of the fats present in your body. It secretes the bile. Okay, so on the surface of the liver, there is a bag which is called the gallbladder, which stores the bile. So the bile is secreted by the liver, stored in the gallbladder, secreted by the liver, stored in the gallbladder. What's its function? Stores the bile. This is the gallbladder. What does the bile do? It contains bile salts, pigments, and cholesterol and phospholipids. It's an emulsifier. What does emulsifier mean? You know what's also an emulsifier? The detergent you use to wash your dishes. All of your dishes detergents, they contain emulsifier. It breaks down the fat particles into smaller fat particles. Okay, so after doing this, these fat particles are going to be absorbed into the intestine. Pancreas. Pancreas is really important. It's responsible for secreting 2 of the most important enzymes in your body. Insulin, which breaks down the sugar and burns it. Glucagon. Glucagon is responsible for producing sugar. So, you're eating too much sugar, your pancreas starts secreting insulin. Glucagon is going to cause your liver to produce the sugar that it's stored in case you haven't eaten for a long time. So this is where the food is going to pass, through the tract. These organs are responsible to help with the digestion. They are not part of the tract. Okay, so the solid wastes are going to leave the digestive system in the form of feces or stools that leave through your anus. So the metabolic waste, like the water, carbon dioxide, salts, and urine. Water is going to go to the kidneys to be rid of. Carbon dioxide, it's going to leave through your lungs. Some of the salts, they leave, and some of the salts, they are kept, and the urea goes to your kidneys. This is all with the digestive system. I hope you understood it all, and I hope you all eat healthy food at all times as much as you can.